The opinions expressed on the Custody Queen Show are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for personal, professional legal advice. The persons discussed are fictional and not based on actual clients.
Thought it was love, had kids in between. You can count on us, we're the Custody Queens. Yeah, you can count on us, we're the Custody Queens.
Welcome back, everyone. It's your Custody Queens, Sam and Kristen. We are so excited to be here today on Saturday and every Saturday with you at 8:30 on Go Country 105. Today is a very exciting episode for Kristen and I. I think I'm going to be a little bit in the hot seat here for our Valentine's Day episode.
Yes, we have waited all year for this. I had so many ideas, and our production team wanted to do so many things for this episode, but unfortunately, because of COVID, we had to change it up a bit. But that doesn't mean that it's not just as exciting and a lot more spontaneous, which who knows what's going to come out of my mouth. So I hope, Sam, you are ready.
All right.
Before we get into Valentine's Day and matchy and Sam's love life, we have a new segment that we want to introduce to everyone, which is called Notes to My Younger Self. Sam, I'm going to let you start.
All right, Kristen. So I think I could write my younger self, a book. But to kind of keep it in the theme of Valentine's Day, I would probably say to tell my younger self, like, you're not going to marry that guy. You know, when you're in junior high or high school, you're young, you like the, football quarterback that doesn't know you exist. Nobody in high school, there's like the one couple that ends up actually legit getting married, but everyone else, it doesn't work out, okay? So I guess my advice would be like a bunch of people and just go out there and, try new things and break your heart, keep moving, because it really isn't the end of the day or the end of the world. And I know that when my parents told me that, I was like, you guys, you don't understand. It is the end of the world. And now I look back and I kind of laugh at it, but I wish that I took that advice at that age. It's, there are so many people in the world. There's so many fish in the sea, and we can get so kind of obsessed with the idea of rejection or really wanting something to be perfect. Just kind of let it happen.
Yeah, it's a funny statement. I look back at, I wasn't someone who dated a lot. I was a very, very late bloomer in, all aspects. And I only had a few boyfriends. But man, when those few ended, it was like, your world was crumbling down. I don't know how you would get out of bed. And it just was pretty traumatic. But, young love.
Right.
If I could tell my younger self something, it would stop trying to be an adult. I mean, geez.
You got it good as a kid.
Oh my gosh. My daughter says, it's funny, my 3-year-old tells me, when I get bigger, I'll be driving this car. And I'm like, you're 3,
Right.
But everybody always wants to be big, and then you get big, and
you spend the rest of your life wishing you were young.
Yeah, I mean, I look back when I was 22 and I was in my senior year of college, and I went to college in Florida, and I had just finished my 4 years of playing college soccer, and I was so ready to get the heck out of there and start law school and just move on with my life. And I don't think that 22-year-old had any clue what she was getting herself into. And
Right.
as I sit here today, and at 40, I'm like, what I would give to go back to a month of being in a college dorm.
Yeah.
Bills are, for the most part handled, and, other than student loans, which aren't payable yet. And
You don't get it yet.
yeah, it's kind of like which happy hour is doing something on Tuesday night, and how do I make sure that I pass my classes but maybe sleep in once a week, Gosh, I would give anything for that right now, just for a month.
That would be fun. That would be really fun. All right, Kristen, I think we should transition into our favorite part of the show, Divorce Wars. This is where we listen to a fictional story and kind of give our commentary on the very real fact patterns and real issues that come up in our day-to-day practice.
All right, let's hear it.
This is Divorce Wars.
This was not my finest moment, but it felt justified at the time. My wife cheated on me during my frequent travels for work. She filed for divorce and she gets to keep the house. Months elapsed and I'm still rightfully pissed, but I have no recourse. Then I had an epiphany. I wonder if she changed the password to the Nest thermostat. She did not. For the next year, I will continue to mess with the thermostat. In the middle of summer, while they're sleeping in my bed, I turn the heat on to 90 degrees at 3 a.m. Middle of winter, time to shut off the heat and hope the pipes freeze. Away on vacation, turn the air conditioning down to 55 and let it run 24/7 for a nice surprise bill when they get home.
Wow, sounds like someone needs to hire a therapist right away, because that's the first thing that I hear when I listen to that is you need to move on, sir.
You need help.
You need some help. Your actions are within the huge umbrella of abuse, changing thermostats, controlling things that are not within your control, like a thermostat in a house that someone else has exclusive use of.
Yeah, that's harassment, and you're disturbing the peace of another party. I also would like to say that in that fact pattern, it's noted that, wife was confirmed the house. There is likely more to that story. But when you're in California and you're divorcing, you are dividing up the community estate. And so it's very likely that if wife was awarded the house, she either had to buy out some portion of that and husband received that, or there was some other asset that was affirmed to him. So once the judgment is final and the house is actually awarded to wife, it's not his house anymore. It's her house. And he needs to know that. And if he continues to do things like that, especially if they know it's him, he's going to wind up with a restraining order.
Yeah, and depending on who is calling me in this case, obviously my instructions would be different and my advice would be different. But here's a little tip just for everybody listening is change your passwords, change your passcodes. Even you can do so before divorce. Your email, if you're communicating with an attorney, it's important to have a secured email.
Even create a new one. If you think that you have a tech-savvy ex-spouse who's up to no good, there's no harm in creating a brand new email that's not linked to the computer that you used to use, so you don't have any kind of nefarious things going on.
Yeah, and change your passwords too. And I mean, I'm someone who keeps the same password for everything, and then it'll get hacked in a few ways, and then I forget it every single week, and I end up resetting my password to every account every time I'm trying to get in, including, Fabletics and JustFab and all of those accounts. But it's important to protect your accounts and your passwords. And how many times have you logged in, Sam? For instance, on my computer, everything is saved on auto login. So someone, I actually have to change my passwords now that I'm having this conversation, because when someone logs into your computer, they have access to emails and text messages that may be confidential, like those you're having with an attorney. But, and to the other guy, hey, you got to move on, dude. You got to move on. The end of a marriage is the evolution of the next phase. And Sam and I talk about that a lot. It's the next phase of your life. So hire a therapist, start learning about what you did wrong in that marriage so you don't make the same mistakes in your new relationship. And, let your ex-wife move on and quit trying to freeze her out and heat her out, because you know what? Karma's a real what.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't agree more.
And now I hope those two people that we just listened to live happily ever after divorce.
All right, Kristen, I agree with you. So I think it's time for us to transition into putting me into the hot seat and talking about all things love and Valentine's Day. I'm going to give you a couple questions to give myself some time to kind of defer this. But Kristen, do you want to tell us how you met your husband, Jeremy?
Well, I met my husband a long time ago. It was 2003, and I had just moved home from Florida. And I met him at a piano bar restaurant called Sing Sing back in the day. It was at the Irvine Spectrum. It's no longer there. They were right next to Rock Bottom. And I actually went with a coworker that, I still work with today, which is funny. How many years later? 17 years later. And I had just gotten out of a 4-year relationship with someone that I had in Florida for 4 years, and unfortunately I'm still acquaintances with that person, but they lived in Florida and I was moving back home to go to law school, and geographically it just wasn't the right fit. And my friend had said, is there anyone in this place that you find attractive? And I pointed to my husband, who's named Jeremy.
And said, I'll marry him.
Yeah, no, that's not how that happened. I said, he has a lot of tattoos. I don't know that my parents will love that. And then Tammy actually ended up leaving my phone number. And to be honest, he like totally ghosted me. And, I think I was a little bit of, I don't know, stalker's the right word, but, I definitely was the one pursuing it at that time. And we went on a date or two, and then it's kind of funny because we actually didn't see each other for about a year or 2 years after that, and we randomly ran into each other at a restaurant about 2 years later and started seriously dating. And
How quickly things can change.
Yeah, and, I laugh because the tables have definitely reversed, fast forward. I think we've been together like 15 years now. So, but it definitely wasn't a love at first sight moment. We got engaged in Hawaii, waited 5 years to have kids, and now we have 3.
Did you plan on having 3 kids?
I did. I told him on our very first date that I wanted 3 kids. I come from a big family of 4 kids, and he was an only child. And he was done it too. He was done. And
I can vouch for that.
I begged. And I told him that this was, kind of something I wanted my entire life. And we said that we would, give it a go. And, 2 months later, I had little Hudson in my belly. So I think he's very happy now, but I think he got more than he bargained for. All right, Sam, if I could
Here we go.
If I told you to give me your perfect man and 3 quality traits, what would they be?
Wow. Well, I've never really been one for lists because I think that I like a wide range of people, and I think that that's pretty transparent in my dating history. But I would probably say that I'm definitely more attracted to like the nerd or the dweeb. That's just honestly where my little heart goes. Someone that is kind. Probably the biggest turnoff to me is like a bully or someone that just thinks that they're better than other people. It's just not really who I am. And probably a jokester, because I like to, if you don't know me, hopefully you're getting to know me, but I'm pretty sarcastic.
No, not you.
And I have some dry humor, so I would say those 3.
I love those. I love those because I think those qualities also come with age, because to me the best part about a relationship with someone that you're choosing to be committed to is to be able to laugh with. The looks come and go through all phases of our life, and I always tell my husband, hey, there's nothing a little Botox can't fix. I keep trying to make him an appointment, and I probably got another 6 months to work on that. But yeah, I mean, life is so full of challenges and periods of darkness that you have to be able to laugh.
I agree.
That's important. All right, Sam, are there any contenders for your heart these days?
Kristen, I don't like to kiss and tell, and you know that. I would say, I'm boyfriend shopping. And so, we'll see where it goes, but yeah, I'll keep it at that.
So you didn't answer my question. Is there a contender?
Well, there's always a roster, but there's no serious contenders right now. So, yeah. So give me a call.
Yeah, so anybody out there listening, you can reach Samantha McBride at
Do not give my number.
1-800-419-7772. Just leave me a note that you are looking to be added to the roster.
Yeah, Kristen's my matchmaker, so.
Yes, I have a lot of authority over her schedule, so I can just slip it on in there, networking date, Zoom style.
Oh, that's great.
All right, Sam. We all know about Sam and Pam, and that's probably her first love. But Sam, how old were you when you had your first crush?
My first crush? I think I was in like junior high, 6th grade, 7th grade, junior high.
Yeah, I would say that was about mine too, even though a crush considered of, will you go out with me? Yes, but you can't kiss me because my dad will get mad.
Yeah, listen, my first boyfriend, and I use that in loose quotes. I really hope he's listening. He's probably not. I was so scared. I knew he was going to ask me out. I was in band class. I fake played the clarinet for a couple of years because my mom bought me a clarinet, and I didn't want to really learn how to play it. I was kind of in over my head. So I was in band class. I was leaving band class, and he kind of like chased me down and like asked me out, and I was like, yes. And then he was like, can I have a hug? And I was like, sure. But then I literally ran away and got on the bus, like just very shy. And then we, like, loose quotes again, dated for like a couple of weeks, and then I broke up with him because I said he was too shy. But really, I was just like very scared.
I know. Isn't it funny looking back at that, just our younger selves? I always get a kick when I find like an old picture or something. Yeah, I didn't have my first boyfriend until I was, I think, almost 17.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, I use that, boyfriend. I was a very late bloomer again. So, I look at what my parents did now to keep me so busy and to keep me out of trouble and really to keep me away from boys. They literally had me going from one activity to another. And, I think it was genius looking back. And once COVID opens up and sports are back in play, I will be practicing the same thing.
Yeah, that's really, my parents had me in sports my whole life. And it keeps you straight because you're hanging out with people that also have other things to do. Definitely. So, Kristen, I have a question for you. Do you have any like pre-Jeremy terrible date stories?
I really don't. I wasn't much of a dater. I was more of the relationship girl, and I was in 3, fairly long-term relationships, and that was really it. This whole Match.com and Tinder and swipe right and swipe left and, all Bumble and I all these things I hear from my clients, my friends, like everybody that I talk to, I never experienced any of that. Like this was the good old fashioned send me a text, let's meet up, and either we like each other and we go on another date, or no thank you. I mean, I was like the day of the pager in high school. Yeah. And then I would get, I think my first boyfriend in high school would send me page texts that said miss you in numbers or I love you in numbers or something like that. And I mean,
That's
that
awesome.
was I didn't even have a cell phone in high school.
That's awesome. I have a bad date story. I have a lot of bad date stories. I have good date stories too, but I'd probably say this isn't that recent, but my friends are always trying to like hook me up with a person, which is, I mean, I think it's like people trying to solve pie. Like, why is Sam still single? Let's figure this out. So I love when my friends try to match me up with someone. So my good friends that are actually getting married, they matched me up with someone, and he like asked me to breakfast, and I was like, okay, this is sure. And so we go to breakfast, and I like order coffee and whatever, a waffle, and all of a sudden he's just starts telling me that he's just getting out of a marriage, and
let me guess, hit you up for legal advice.
Yeah, and so like pretty quickly into the date, and very nice guy, but pretty quickly into the date, I was like, okay, I think we're gonna do mimosas. We are going to, I will have bottomless mimosas, and I found the bottom of those mimosas. Nice guy, but yeah, I mean, just, maybe,
And we get hit up for advice at every weird and awkward moment. I mean, barbecues, grocery line, anywhere, dropping off kids at school, PTA meetings, you name it. We're getting to the point where people are starting to know us now, and it's like, they recognize our names, or, for me, I was checking in to a hotel a few months ago, and they had recognized my name, and all I could think of is, oh my gosh, I look horrible. I have no makeup. I was literally just driving for 8 hours, and even that person had proceeded to ask me questions about their divorce while I was checking in. And while I'm always happy to help as many people as I can and have an assessment with you over the phone, it's a little awkward when I have 12 bags sitting behind me and my husband and 3 kids are kind of looking at me, and it's a little awkward sometimes.
Yeah, and I mean, also remember that we want to have a very private conversation with you because we want to, especially if you become our client, we want to have an attorney-client relationship and we want to protect that. And sometimes giving you really good advice is hard to hear at first, but what you need to know. And so a lot of times I think that Kristen and I are good for the soul, I guess, but we're hard on the ego.
Yes, we are. And sometimes my directness gets taken for being rude, for lack of better words, or for being mean, but it's just really that I'm a very direct person. I always have very intentional conversations, and
I appreciate that about you.
And I am trying to work on it because my delivery is not the best always. I wholeheartedly know that, you know. I'm going to write that down in my journal for something to work on, but I wholeheartedly know that. But I like direct people, and I like to be talked to the way that I hope people talk to me. Good, bad, and ugly. So, Sam, what's your plans for Valentine's Day since it's tomorrow?
Well, Kristen, I don't have any Valentine's Day plans right now. Normally I would do some sort of probably single get together, maybe go out, but you know, obviously the pandemic, we all have to be a lot more careful during these times. So I'll probably go on a long run out my feelings as I usually do.
Get a bag of Doritos and some cheesecake. Dude.
Yeah, probably just stick my hand in those Doritos. But also, I love, right? So I'm not one of those like grouches that is like so sad that everyone else is like in love and getting married. So I will probably happily sit on my couch, watch some like heartbreak movies, and then also go through social media and see who's getting engaged, because definitely
and having
5
babies.
people you know have gotten engaged. And for me as a divorce attorney, and I'm sure Kristen as well, we see so much of it that when I see love and I see people getting together and, you know, forming these great unions, that makes me happy.
Yeah, no, I don't look at Valentine's Day like very cynical. I know some people, it's just another Hallmark, you know, made up holiday. I look at it as a day that I get to just show, I know that I show my family love, or I try to most days, but I get my kids a gift bag, and I fill it up with, you know, everything from a whoopee cushion to Legos to Barbies and LOLs. But I love getting little practical jokes and games, and then, a new swimsuit for Riley, because she's all into that, and slippers. But I fill up a bag, put some presents in there, put tissue paper, get a banner, put it across the fireplace. I get balloons and put them everywhere, and I decorate the table, and we are getting takeout. Sushi and sashimi, because my 3-year-old and my 6-year-old are obsessed with sashimi. I can't tell you how many times I order like an 8-piece, and then by the time I've set up my meal, after everyone else, there's 1 piece left.
So that sounds all so great, but when you were talking about kind of making gifts for your kids, and Kristen's so good at that, by the way. She's like the mom that like sends to the school, like everyone gets a Valentine's Day, everyone has like a Christmas gift. Like she's such a giver and a giving person, and that's really a credit to you. But you reminded me of another Sam horror story when I was in junior high. Do you remember when you could like give people like chocolates, so you'd go and like pay $1, and like then on Valentine's Day
another student would go pass it out?
Yeah. So my boyfriend of the week, it's making me sound like I had a lot of boyfriends, but I didn't. I probably was dating him more than he was dating me, but he had bought me a bunch of those, and then like a week later we broke up, and then like a month later they all got delivered like to the classroom. So I have these like...
Did he ask for them back?
No, he let me eat them. I was like, my bad, you know, it is what it is. But so I had this like desk full of candy.
Yeah, I remember in high school I had a boyfriend that got me one of those giant bears. And, you know, I was so excited, but I was like, I have to walk around with this thing.
Your parents must think you're so weird. You know, you're like 13, like with a bear in your...
Giant bear. Yeah. It was kind of like, you know, those ones they sell at Costco. It's kind of funny. My sister has one at her house, and they're huge. This thing's like 50 pounds, you know, 6 feet tall, and she's always trying to give it to me or give it to my daughter. And I'm like, I have no room for that thing, but my kids are obsessed with it whenever they go over there. They love this bear. But they sell them at Costco. They're huge. I should get one for my husband because that would really put him over the edge because he's like so anal with my, with.
Get a bin.
Yeah, oh gosh. If I got a bin and a giant bear, oh my gosh.
That'd be it.
Oh, Amazon boxes. Ooh, I'd really send him over the edge there.
All right, Kristen. So I think it's time for us to go to another new segment that Kristen and I have for 2021. So for all of you that have been listening for a while, thank you. And also, you must know about our TMI, which stood for too much information. Kristen and I would go back and forth kind of sharing way too much every week. Well, we've upgraded, and now we have an official CQ book.
Yeah, and we're still going to share with you. It's just going to be in a different way, and I think that this will be exciting. It's going to change things up, and
I'm going to let Kristen do the honors.
oh my gosh, this book, for anybody watching on Custody Queens on Air, where you can watch our full episodes, there's about 300 pages of just questions. So I just literally get to open up to any page and go, bam, number 519. Sam, how modern are you?
I'm not very modern at all. I'm someone that has a phone until it dies, has a car until I need a new one. I'm pretty old school with everything. I'm not very techie. I'm not really into the new trends.
You are way more techie than me.
I'm a really fast typer. I am. Listen, anyone wants to challenge me, I can out-type you. I can promise that.
Yeah, I'm not very modern either. I think on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm about a 7, even though I try to convince myself I'm like a 9, but I'm not very modern either.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to grab a question. Let's do this. Have you ever given blood?
I have many, many times. I've probably given blood about 10 times in my life. I'm also an organ donor too.
I just downloaded that blood drive app.
Yeah, no,
Have you heard of those?
I'm a firm believer of giving blood, and I think it's just something very easy that you can do to help, especially during a pandemic.
They have American Cross actually has an app that you can download, and it's great because it'll tell you like different facilities and different appointment times that you can go in and give blood, which I think is really important right now.
Yeah.
As long as you can safely do it, and obviously it's an essential thing. But yeah, I think it's great.
It's a very easy task to help someone and to be kind. It doesn't require really anything at all. Make sure you bring water and have a cookie. But other than that, there's a lot of places that'll even come to you. So I'm a firm believer in that. And who knows if I'll ever need a blood transfusion or anything, or anyone in my family. So, hey, I said it earlier, karma is a real you-know-what, and you have to treat people the way that you want to be treated, talk to people the way that you want to be treated, and it's great that Love Day is tomorrow, because I don't look at it as like I need a date or I need to focus on my marriage. I look at it as a day to be happy and enjoy your family. Whether you're in a marriage that is struggling and needs a little TLC, whether you're in a marriage that is thriving and 2020 was the best year for you, or you are single with a roster, or you're single and you're just focusing completely on yourself, and the thought of the opposite sex doesn't have a place in your life right now, because I had a lot of phases like that in my life. Just enjoy the day. Wake up, smell the roses. After our show, do something for yourself. Self-care.
And it's a Sunday tomorrow, so really, I mean, most of you hopefully have the day off. I guess a lot of people work on Sundays, but if you have the day off, enjoy it.
Yeah, and I call it Love Day because you got to feel love, whether that's for your spouse, your partner, your kids, your friend. I will even call or text Samantha McBride on Love Day. I have a select few because my friends to me it's like a sisterhood, and they're.
I hope you send me a candygram.
Oh gosh, now you're going to send me on a mission to find someone that can deliver a candygram. Maybe someone on DoorDash or Instacart can make that happen for me. But yeah, just, reach out to loved ones. It's Love Day, people.
Yeah, and we let love rule here, huh, Kristen?
We do. Let it rule.
All right. I think that wraps up today's episode. Unfortunately, it was such a good one. I wish it was Valentine's Day every month, but it's not. Make sure you check out Kristen and I's social media. My Instagram handle is @Samantha McBride. Kristen's is @CustodyQueenKristen. Please also, if you want to, Kristen was saying this earlier, look at our old episodes. You can view every single episode that Kristen and I have done to date on custodyqueensonair.com.
And make sure you follow Custody Queens and Custody Queens on Air social media because we are doing giveaways. We have a giveaway for the month of February, specifically for Love Day. We are giving away a Sephora gift card as well as a dinner for two. So stay tuned for the rules. They should be being posted if they haven't already. But enter and follow Sam and I, and we have a lot of giveaways coming up throughout the next months.
You can also call us at 1-800-419-7772. That's 1-800-419-7772.
And remember,
Let love rule.